All the students can see the paper.
Yes, sir, we can see the paper.
Yeah, okay. Now,
Pute, you can unmute and answer, right? Now,
yeah,
the
now
mic.
you can unmute and ask question. Right, now we are going for the first one. Right, what is the structural and functional unit of the main organ? Right, now before that, I'll go for the very important things in the paper, in the MCQ paper. Please remember, student, when we go for the paper, what we need to do in the paper itself. Okay, in the paper itself, it has few different types of MCQs. Okay, that means some MCQs that you can give the answer within few seconds. There were some MCQs within 40. You will take around 10 seconds to 30 seconds lifetime. Some MCQs you will take more than 30 seconds, and sometimes another MCQs you will take more than 1 minute to give the answer. So please remember, student, when you're giving the answers for the MCQ, you have to go through the MCQ paper twice or thrice. That means in the first round, you have to give the answer for very easiest MCQs within few seconds and can save the time to give the answer for the rest of the questions. Now, when we consider about the O-level science paper, first 10 to 15 questions, we can give the answer very fast. As example, in this paper, you can see what is the structural and functional unit of the main organ that carries the nitrogenous excretion. The answer is what? Nephron, that you learn under the human biology. Second question, what is the international system of unit or the SI unit of the energy? We learn joules. Another one, when you go for the chemistry question, particles that can be described as nucleon. Nucleon means the subatomic particles that found where? Subatomic particles that found in the nucleus, what? Proton and neutron. Right? Okay. Now, you can see from the MCQ first, second, and third. In the paper itself, you can see within few seconds, you can give the answer. So, you keep the time saving by doing that MCQs very fast. Now, you can see the fourth question. When you consider about the fourth question, you have to balance the chemical equation here. Can you do it within few seconds? No. It sometimes takes around more than 10 seconds. But some students, according to their capacity, you can skip this question and go for another, or for the second round, or you can use the answer first round as well. Now here you can see propane burn. Burn means react with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. You have to balance the chemical equation. It's very easy. Here, the answer will be the second one. Here, propane, it comes the one. Oxygen, you have to balance the reactants and the product. So, answer comes second. Here, you should have the ability to balance the equation. The reactants, number of atoms in the reactant should be equal to the number of product. Right. Then, fifth question. What is the correct statement regarding the cell organelle given below? Now you can see a large particle and a small particle here. So maybe you can think about that. This is what? This is called ribosome. Right? Ribosome. What is the main function? Right? Important for the protein synthesis. Then sixth one. What is the situation where multiple collinear forces act on opposite directions? This lesson regarding grade 10. Grade 10. Now, multiple, large number of forces, collinear, ekathalaya, ekama thalayak mata yedena balaya samuhaya in Sinhala. Right? What is the answer? We can say hum over. That means in Sinhala we call api kamba adina pute api yodana multiple collinear ekama thalayak mata balayan rashya. And where? opposite direction. Two teams pull it both direction. Multiple collinear forces only for one direction. What's the answer? You can say pulling a fishing net. Okay, pulling a fishing net, only that we use to a one direction. So here the answer for the sixth question is what? First one. 7. Which of the following has the polar covalent bond? Polarity. In singular we call Draviyata. Normally, please remember in the periodic table, now when we consider about the left-hand side element and the right-hand side element, left-hand side element tend to remove the electrons and come to the noble gas configuration. Meanwhile, the right-hand element try to accept the electron and come to the noble gas configuration. Here, to create a polarity, the elements in the periodic table should be in far away. That means both extreme ends of the periodic table. Now, O2, H2N2 mean diatomic molecules. There it won't get polarity. Why? Same atoms combined with the covalent bond. So the answer for the seventh one, what? Hydrogen in the first group, fluorine in the seventh group. So the answer comes what? Second. So now when we consider about the question number 8, right? Then I told you once in the MCQ paper, first 15 to 20, you can come up with some MCQs, you can do the answer within few seconds. Up to now, we discussed the MCQs very fast, we can do the answer and save the time for the rest of the questions. Now, as example, let's go for the question number 8. This is regarding the tissues that we learned in the grade 11 first lesson, plant and animal tissue. The following characteristics are observed in certain cell type. There is a cavity in the middle of the cell. Okay, cavity, another one, lignified mean normally on the top of the primary cell wall, it already deposits the secondary cell wall. And meanwhile, you can see what? Lignin already deposit on the second cell wall. And finally, the cell will get what? Death. Here we learn parenchyma, collenchyma, and another one, sclerenchyma, simple permanent tissue. Parenchyma and collenchyma are both living. Here, due to deposition of lignin and having a hollow structure, we can go, it should be sclerenchyma. Out of the sclerenchyma can be divided into two groups, but fiber and stone cell, or we call scleric. So the answer for the 8th one, 4. Right? Okay. Now, when we consider about the sclerenchyma, now you can see here, sclerenchyma we come across two types. What? Fiber and the scleric or the stone cells. This is fiber. Right? Then when we consider about the scleric or the stone cells, you can see it already divided. This kind of structure. When you go for your O-level grade 11 book, you can see both. Here in the primary cell wall, the secondary cell wall already deposit with the lignin, we call lignified. And here the hollow structure, you can see here, the hollow. That's why we call fiber and the sclerae, or we call stone cells, right? So the answer here, it comes this. Okay. Right. Now we are going for the next question. We are going for the next question. Right. Now here, displacement time graph. You have to be very careful when you come across a physics question. You should have the ability to read the graph. Right. Here the x-axis comes time and the y-axis comes displacement. Here from 10, within 10 seconds, the displacement 40. Displacement divided by time means velocity. Here it has the uniform velocity. So 40 divided by 10 means 4 meters per second. So initially it has 4 meters per second uniform velocity. And now you are quite familiar. What? Now you are quite familiar. From 10 to 20, right? 10 to 20 seconds, the graph comes parallel to the x-axis. That means in a displacement time graph, this kind of a graph called what? At rest. Okay? At rest. Right. Okay. Now I'll let you know another very important thing for you. When we consider about the graph in the linear motion lesson, the second lesson in the grade 10, please remember, student. Now, when we consider about the time in second, and here the displacement. Here the displacement in meters. Okay. Now, in displacement time graph, this kind of a linear motion, it's called what? Uniform velocity. This is called what? Uniform velocity. When it comes parallel to the x-axis in a displacement time graph, now normally we say what? At rest. At rest. This is regarding displacement time graph. Now when we go for the velocity time graph, here is the time in second, here is the velocity, meters per second. When we consider about the velocity time graph, here it comes what? Uniform velocity, uniform acceleration. Here it comes uniform acceleration. Parallel to the x-axis, this is called what? Uniform velocity. And here we name it as what? Uniform deceleration. Please remember the difference between these two graphs, because sometimes students may misunderstand. And one of the main reasons is what? You won't read the graph. First, please remember, you should have the ability to read the graph. Reading the graph means very carefully go through the x and y axis and what it says in both. Here, velocity time graph. Here what we say? Uniform acceleration. Here, uniform velocity. Here, uniform deceleration. In displacement time graph, uniform velocity is this. Velocity time graph, uniform velocity is this. So please remember, when you are doing your studies, this graph you should drawn in the same place and labeled. Then you can get an idea. Right. Now we are going for the next one. Right. Now we are going to discuss the ninth question. What is the answer? Answer second one. Answer second one. Okay. Now next 10th question. Some of the bioprocesses are given below. A reaction where biocatalysts are used. Please remember the technical term called biocatalysts. Please write there. It is called enzymes. It is called what? Enzymes. So transportation, transpiration, full gas exchange during respiration. These kind of things do not involve enzymes, but when converting starch into maltose, it involves what? Amylase. Normally, you know, when we consume food like starch food, inside the mouth, initially the saliva initiates. So salivary amylase converts starch into disaccharide maltose. Another name for amylase is ptyalin. So the process biocatalyst means enzyme. Here the enzymatic reaction is what? Fourth one. Now, this is another very important thing when you consider about the mercury barometer that you learn under the section called physics. Under the section called physics that you learn about the barometer. Now here we can see atmospheric pressure created on the mercury column. So therefore mercury travels through this capillary tube upward. So here they ask the several levels of mercury barometer shown A, B, C, D, and E. In which of the following height of the atmospheric pressure is correctly represented? Here it represents what? From B to C. It gives the height of B to C, normally 76 mercury centimeters. Right. Now we are going for the 12th question. Now student, please remember, up to now the questions that we discussed, you can get an idea. Within few seconds, we can give the answer. So in the first round, you have to go through these questions and do the answer very fast. Right? Which ion is always formed? These bonds comes in contact with water and oxygen. Right? Which ions? Especially here we discuss mercury. If we can consider the mercury, when they bonded with the water and oxygen, finally it formed what? Hydroxide. 13th question. Consider the following statement regarding the case of human anaerobic respiration. Now, in the human biology, grade 11, unit 6, we learn about the two types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. When we consider about the aerobic and anaerobic respiration, normally this aerobic respiration occurs inside the cell organelle called mitochondria. Up to your level you learn. Here they have given three statements. What? Always ethyl alcohol is and carbon dioxide are produced. Now the sentence is incorrect due to having the always, because anaerobic respiration can occur both in plants and animals. Here they only consider the one aspects, right? That's why A incorrect. There is a high gain of ATP. When you go for the A levels, if you do in the stream of science stream, you will learn about the calculation of ATP molecules that produce during anaerobic and aerobic. Normally, in aerobic respiration, it produces very large number of ATP molecules, like 36 or 38. But in the anaerobic, it's a very less amount. That means that around 2 or 3. Like so, here there is a high gain of ATP, not in the anaerobic, but in the aerobic respiration. So A and B2 statements incorrect. So third one, glucose become lactic acid. Yes, during anaerobic respiration, glucose become lactic acid. Answer correct, only C. Right. 14th question. Two vessels contain 44 grams of carbon dioxide and 32 grams of oxygen. Now you know carbon dioxide relative molecular mass 44. It is a gram dioxide 44 gram. How many moles there? 1 moles. 32 oxygen. Relative molecular mass of oxygen 32. It in mass 32 gram, it has 1 mole. So which statement correct regarding the number of carbon dioxide and oxygen molecules Oxygen and carbon dioxide, same amount of that is Avogadro constant. So the both vessels contain 6.02 to 10 into the power 23 each. Right. 15th question. What is the key structural component of the plant? Right. That means normally you learn 3 polysaccharides, but starch, glycogen, and cellulose up to your O-level chemical basis of life. Here they ask what is the structural component of plant. That means plant cell wall structure. Normally we found what out of this. Here we can say what? Cellulose. Up to your O-level you learn cellulose, but when we go for the A-levels, we go for cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, lignin, likewise many other structural components. But under the O-level we learn about the basically the primary cell wall made up of what? Cellulose. Right. Now in the O-level examination there's a typical question: equivalent resistance of right parallel and series connection. Equivalent resistance of parallel and series connection that we learn. Here, now you can see from they ask the equivalent resistance between the 2 points A and C. Between what? A and C. Now, we have to go for the answer there. Right? We have to go for the answer there. Right? Now, when we consider the equivalent resistance, now the picture it says right between A and C. Very simply, when we consider about here 1 ohm, here also 1 ohm. Here it comes across 1 ohm and 1 ohms. Here it comes what? 1 ohm. Now the same thing from here to here. Which kind of a connection we found in the resistors? Parallel or series? Series. So here we use the equation called R equals R1 plus R2. That means the sum of the two, finally we can go for what? The total R1 plus R2 means what? Finally we come across what? The sum of the two ohms. Here also we can go for the equivalent resistance in a series connection R equals R1 plus R2. So finally we can go for another one, but 2 ohms. Now the point A and C. Now finally we have to go for 3 resistors here, but in parallel connection. So here we have to use another equation. What? 1 over R equals, here let's imagine that this is R1, this is R2, this is R3. So initially we use the equation for series connection. What? R equals R1 plus R2 plus R3. Right? Here we use 1 over R equals 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. Here 1 over R, R1 means 1 over 2 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 over 2. We take the least common multiple here, but 2. 2 into 1, 1 plus 2 plus 1 equal 1 over R. So here we have to subject that R. Due to having the equation here, we go for the cross multiplication. 1 plus 2 plus 1 means 4. 4 multiplied by R, that means 4R equal 1 multiplied by 2, 2. 4R equals 2. R means 2 divided by 4. 2 divided by 4 means 0.5 ohms. Right? Now you know, this kind of a question in the paper itself, it may be take some time. Sometimes it may be 30 seconds. That's why I ask you, in the first round, you have to go for very easiest MCQs. First 10 to 15, right? Then the second round, again, you have to go through the paper again. It will take more than 10 seconds, less than 30-second questions. Then the third round. Likewise, in the MCQ paper, please remember, you can go through 2 or 3 times in the paper, right? Then you can save the time. That's a very important fact. I'll let you know some examples, what the reason for going that kind of things, right? Now, I think you have gone for the answer there. Now, shall we move for the next one? Right. Now, so the answer 0.5 ohms there. Right. Next one. Name the tissue that contribute to transportation and translocation. Two technical terms that you learn, transportation and translocation. Now, please remember, through the xylem tissue, transport water and mineral salt absorbed from the root throughout the body. Translocation mainly occurs through what? Phloem tissue. Transportation through xylem, translocation through phloem. You don't miss that technical term because transportation means in Sinhala parivahanaya. Translocation in Sinhala we call parisankramanaya. So there's a 2 different technical terms and technical process. So in the examination, if you ask to write what is the function of xylem tissue and what is the function of phloem tissue, you should have the ability to give the answer in the correct way. So what the answer for the 17? 17 answer second. Okay. Then 18. Another one. Compound MX2 has an ionic bond. Which of the following statements are true about the M and X? M is a element of the second group of the third period. That now you know the valence comes 2 in M. It exchanged and given to the X. X is a non-metal. M form divalent cation 2+. So here we can say answer A, B, and C. Right. Now 19. Another question from the biology. Phase of the uterus during ovulation in ovary under the influence of luteinizing hormone LH. Now, student, please remember, sometimes there may be some questions with the menstrual cycle that you learn in grade 10, unit 14, reproduction. You learn about 2 graphs. Sometimes there may be questions in the 2023 O-level paper regarding this menstrual cycle and the graph, maybe. So you have to be very careful. Under the menstrual cycle, 2 changes occur. Where? One change occurs inside the ovary due to the FSH and LH hormone. Then other changes occur inside the uterus due to estrogen and progesterone. Right? You should be quite familiar with the graph itself. Right? So what is the answer for the 19th, fourth one? Right, 20th. Another typical question in the O-level MCQ, like in the equivalent resistance, parallel and series that we have already discussed. Here, moment of forces. Here we have to go for the moment of forces. Now, initially, you have to go for the answer what? State the mass of B and C respectively. Initially, we have to find the B. Initially, we have to find the B. Like how we find the B? Now, for that, we have to get the first one. I'll let you know how to do that. Now, this kind of question may be in the paper and it will take more than 10 seconds. That means you will take some time to do this calculation. Now, when we consider about this moment of forces, what you have to do? Initially, here, A, B, and C. Now, what you can see, 4 centimeter, 8 centimeter. Here, 2 centimeter, 6 centimeter. Right? Now, here you have given the 10 gram. Here we have given the 10 gram. Now, initially, we have to take this. We take this and find the B. Now, from here it pivot. So, clockwise moment mean 8 into B. This means anti-clockwise. So, here the value take 10 gram into 4 centimeter equal 8 centimeter into B. Right. So what we can do? Unknown factor B. We know clockwise moment mean 8 centimeter into B. Anti-clockwise moment mean 4 centimeter into 10 gram. To keep it equilibrium, the value we have to find B. Here we have to subjected B. So 10 gram into 4 centimeter divided by what? 8 centimeter. 10 into 4, 40 divided by 8 mean what? Centimeter, right? Here you can see 40 divided by 8 mean 5 gram. So initially we count the value B, 5 gram. Now we have to use this one. We have already found the 5 gram. Here 10 gram. Now we take the value for this. Here 5 gram, 10 gram. How many then? 15. Now we can say finally here it comes what? 15. 5 plus 10, 15 grams. Now we have to find C. There also we use what? Clockwise and anti-clockwise moment. We find the B, 10 gram plus 5 gram, 15. We don't know the C. Again, we apply the data from here. Clockwise moment mean what? 6 centimeter into C. Here, 15 into 2 centimeter. We have to subject that C. That means 15 into 2 divided by 6 centimeter. Right? 15 into 2. 30. 30 divided by 6 means 5 gram. So C comes what? 5 gram. B comes what? 5 gram. So finally, what is the answer? Finally, the answer comes, right? 5 gram each. Finally, the answer comes what? 5 gram each. Right? 20th answer, 5th. Right? Right. Then we are going for the 21. Question number 21. Right. Now, when we consider the fused sodium chloride and sodium chloride solutions when doing the electrolysis separately, right? What is the anodic reaction occur? So what is the answer for the 21? 21 anodic reaction, answer, right? B. So answer for the 21, third. Right. Now we are going for the 22nd question. How does the ADH help to regulate the amount of water in the body? Under the human biology, unit 6, we learn about homeostasis and coordination. Samayojanaya sa samastati kila අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නා පාඩම. Under the coordination, we learn under the muscles and the nerve system, especially glands. And homeostasis, we learn water balance, blood glucose level balance, and the body temperature. Here it comes to water balance in the kidney. So ADH hormone act on the nephron and it what? Increase the water reabsorption in the kidney. Right? So the answer for the 22nd, second one. Okay? It comes what? Second one. Then we are going for the next one, 23rd. Which of these compounds is formed by combining ionic and ionic bonds and covalent bonds? Now, when we consider about the hydrogen covalent bonds, sodium chloride, you come across what? Ionic bonds. Here, hydrochloric acid, another covalent, polar covalent. Now, sodium sulfate. Under the sodium sulfate, sodium and sulfate, it form ionic bond. The radical called sulfate, the sulfur and the oxygen reaction between the sulfur and oxygen, it has what? Covalent bond. So, combination of ionic and covalent bonds, the answer is what? Answer, third one, Na2SO4. Sodium and sulfate having the ionic bonds, and sulfate, the radical sulfate between the sulfur and oxygen, it has what? Covalent bond. Now, student, up to now when we discuss the questions, it's quite easy. Sometimes some questions get less than 10 seconds. Sometimes some get more than 10 seconds, around less than 30. But some questions, especially in the MCQ paper, from 30 to 40, it takes much time. Sometimes under the genetic questions, maybe to save the time for the last 10 to 15 questions, you can keep the time saving by doing the first 10 to 15 questions very fast. Now 24th one. Now 24th one. There is a small correction, student, really. I couldn't correct it really. Here you won't get the answer. The turbine is 100 kilograms per second. Sorry, it's a real mistake. I couldn't complete that. Here the 100 kilograms per second should be. I'll let you know how to prepare do the calculation. All the students, please correct it. 100 kilograms per second. Okay, 100 kilograms per second. So in this question, we have to go for equating the kinetic and the potential energy. In order to turn the turbine in a hydrostatic plant, water must have the kinetic energy 20,000 joules per second. If the speed of water flowing into the reservoir to the above turbine 100 kilograms per second, how high should be the reservoir? Now in this kind of question, what we can do? In this kind of question, we have to go equate equaling the kinetic energy and the potential energy. We have to equal the kinetic energy. Total kinetic energy used for what? To rotate the turbine. So therefore, in this kind of a question, we have to go for kinetic energy. Kinetic energy totally used for the potential. By time per time. Now the kinetic energy already given what? 20,000 joules. Potential energy. What is the equation? mgh. And we have to incorporate the data. M mean 100 kilogram. G mean if the within bracket, if you given 9.8 or any other figure that you have to use. Otherwise, directly you use 10 meters per square second. 10 meters per square second, and the H we don't know. The value that we should find H here 20,000. Now here we have the subjected what? H. Subjected H mean divided by 20,000 divided by 100 multiplied by 10 means 1000. That means, but finally the value comes, but it means 20 meters. Okay, that's another answer. Right, now we are going for the next question. Right, so the answer for the 24th, second, 25th. Now you have given here something about the pollination. The first flower, the flower of the plant of species P. The second set of flowers, what? The flower of the plant of species Q. Two species. Normally, pollination we consider what? Pollination we consider within the one species. So here, A means self-in, B means cross-in. Here, what is the answer? Which one of the above statement is true? Mature pollen deposit in the stigma of the same flower mean self-pollination. Now we can go for A means self-in. Right? The mature pollen deposit in the same flower of the same, another flower of the same tree, or another flower of the another plant of the same species. But here what happened? The first two flowers is species P, second two flowers is species Q. So we don't consider C as even crossing because two species. So we have to consider what? A and B. So answer for the 25th is what? Third one, only A and B. Because here the second set of flower is species Q. If it is also species P, we consider B and C both also what? Cross-pollination. Here we cannot go for C as crossing due to two different species. So A self-in, B here crossing. Right. Now, 26th question. 26th question. Another question comes with what? Another question comes with chemistry. Normally in the O-level paper, we have to go through this kind of questions. Right? We have to go through this kind of questions. A sodium hydroxide solution is made up of, okay, sodium hydroxide solution is made up of what? Dissolving 10 gram of sodium hydroxide in 72 gram of water. What is the mole fraction? Now, when we consider about the mole fraction, volume fraction, mass fraction, likewise there was some equation when expressing the composition of a mixture. Here we have to go for mole fraction. So initially, we have to do the calculation here, right? We have to go for the calculation here, right? Now, normally, when we consider about that, now first we have to find the mole of sodium hydroxide. We have to find the mole of sodium hydroxide. Amount of mole mean. Now you know two equations very important in the O-level. Simple N equal simple M divided by capital M. You learn under the grade 10 under the Avogadro constant and moles lesson. Another one, capital C equal, that means concentration equals simple N divided by V. Please remember in the O-level examination, these two equations will be very important for your MCQs. Now first we use this equation for mole fraction. So here the mole of sodium hydroxide mean what? Right, mole of sodium hydroxide mean mass of sodium hydroxide divided by molar mass, 40 grams per mole. Okay, so initially we go for the moles of sodium hydroxide. Then we have to find what is the answer. Mole of sodium hydroxide 0.25, right? Okay, moles. 0.25 moles. Gram capillary. ඊළඟට අපි ඊළඟට යනවා මොනවාද? Moles of water, water moles, right? There we come across what? 72 mass of water, 72 gram. Molar mass of water, 18 grams per mole. There we finally come across what? What the answer? So here they come 72 grams divided by here gram to gram. Per mole come moles, 4 moles. This is the moles of sodium hydroxide. Moles of what do you call sodium hydroxide? This is water. So finally comes what? 0.25 divided by the solution 4 plus 0.25. Finally it comes what? 0.25 divided by 4.25. Right? So answer 0.06. Right? .06. The answer comes. Okay. So what is the answer there? First one. Then next one. Right. Heavy metals affected the enzymatic reaction of our. Which one of the following metal is not considered as a heavy metal? What is the answer? Mercury we consider as a heavy metal. Arsenic, lead we consider as a heavy metal, but iron we do not consider as a heavy metal. Right. Now 28th question. Now 28th question. That's another very important thing regarding Archimedes principle. Right. The question is quite long, but it's very easy to get the answer regarding the upthrust, V rho G. Right. Very carefully when you go through this, you can see what happens there. Right. As shown here, what is the reading of the balance? So for the 28 questions, right, 28 questions, right, it comes answer what? First one. 29. Now, when we consider about the 29, consider the following statement regarding the enzyme, regarding the energy pyramid. Now, when we consider about this energy pyramids, as example, biosphere lesson in the grade 11, right? We come across number pyramid, biomass pyramid, and energy pyramids. So when we go through the statement A, B, and C under the 29th question, right? What is the answer? Which one of the above statement is correct? Right? Energy pyramids are never been inverted. Correct. The upper bar is shorter and length than the lower bar. Right? There is a 10% gain from the one energy to the next. It's also correct. There is no energy dissipation when energy flow from one tropic level to another. Wrong. So answer correct A and B. So 29. What is the answer? Second one. Right. 30th. Which of the following statement true regarding the neutralization between acids and bases? Now you know acid-base neutralization reaction. Now when we take hydrochloric acid and when we add sodium hydroxide, finally we form sodium chloride plus water. During this reaction, finally it comes from water. It's a neutral substance, and the salt also a neutral substance. And when we mix this acid and base using a test tube, when we touch the test tube, we feel that heat. That means releasing heat. That means which kind of a reaction? Exothermic reaction. So the 30th one answer 4th. Okay, 30th one answer 4th. Now I think we have discussed a few MCQs here, but in addition to that, I need to let you know, student, about some things in the MCQ paper, right? That means when we consider the MCQ paper, I told you from 1 to 40. From 1 to 40 MCQs, please try to separate the MCQs into few segments. As example, I told you, some MCQs can give an answer within few seconds. Sometimes less than 10 seconds. Some MCQs take around 10 to 30 seconds. Some take more than 30 seconds, around 1 minute, 1 or 30. Sometimes more than 1 minute. This kind of categorization is very important in when giving the answers for the MCQ. Not only for the O levels, even for the A level examinations. I told you during the first MCQ set, around first to 15, there may be more than 10 MCQs that can be answered within less than 10 seconds. Within less than 10 seconds. And keep the time saving for the rest of the questions. Right? පුතේ මතක තියාගන්න paper එක ගත්ත ගමන් MCQ paper එකේ මුලින්ම within few seconds ලියන්න පුළුවන් උත්තර තියෙනවා. ඒ ටික ඉක්මනට කරලා අපි මේ පහළ තියෙන ඒවාට time save කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඔක MCQ කරනකොට ළමයි කරන්නේ නැති දෙයක්. Right? Normally after the O-level examination, students say that paper is quite okay, science, but time not enough for the paper. Right? ඒකෙන් ඉන්න මේ MCQ paper 1 hour. Within 1 hour you have to give the answer. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාලා first round එකේ යනවා මේ ලේසිම ප්‍රශ්න 10 හෝ 15. Let's imagine then 10. In second round again go for the next set of questions. And another very important thing. තව වැදගත්ම දෙයක් තමයි පුතේ මතක තියාගන්න ඔයාලගේ කොටු කපන කොලයක් එනවා. Right? First question 1 2 3 4 කියලා එනවනේ. When you giving the answers උත්තර දෙනකොට මතක තියාගන්න first round එකේ ගිහිල්ලා උත්තර ටික එනවනේ. මේ කොලේ අරගෙන ඒකේ පෙන්සිල් එකෙන් හරි කමක් නැහැ. ඒ අදාළ උත්තර ටික මාර්ක් කරන්න. Then second round ගියාට පස්සේ ඒ ටිකත් මාර්ක් කරගන්න. third round ගියාට පස්සේ එතන ටිකත් මාර්ක් කරගන්න. Understood? අයි මම කියන්නේ first round එක second round third round යන්න කියලා. Some students, let's imagine that the 15th MCQ in the paper, it takes some time. Maybe be a physics question and it should do the calculation. Student wait on that question around more than 1 minute or more than that and struggling with the question. එතකොට දරුවගේ ඒ ප්‍රශ්න නිසා දරුවා confuse වෙලා අනිත් ලේසි ප්‍රශ්න එකකටවත් උත්තර ලියා ගන්න බැරි වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ බලනකොට අනිත් කියවට වෙලා විතුරු වෙනවා. ඇයි සර් මෙහෙම එකක් කියන්නේ? first round ගිහිල්ලා එතන උත්තර ටික මාර්ක් කරලා second round එහෙම මාර්ක් කරන්න කියන්නේ I can give you one very important typical example. In my schools, when we are doing our A-level section papers, one student in the maths class, he already given the answer for the MCQ 50 MCQs under the physics paper A-level. He didn't mark anyone in the answer script, but he already done all the MCQs in the MCQ paper, and he didn't mark in the answer paper. The class teacher already advised the student, please, when you give the answer for sets, let's imagine that first 10 MCQ, you have to mark in the answer sheet. The rest of the things again mark. Finally, what happens? The class teacher said that another 10 minutes for the paper. MCQ answer script. He already taken the first 3 MCQs. Fourth question fourth එකේ 50th MCQ වෙනකන් MCQ එකක් මාරුන හින්දා ඔක්කොම වැරදි. Very dangerous situation. This kind of a thing already faced by one of my students in my school, A-level maths student, very bright student. He already selected for the Morato University as an engineer, but at the moment the class teacher advised the student, when you go through the answers for the MCQs, sets by sets, sets by set. Please take for the answer script. Otherwise, at the final time, at the final 5 or 10 minutes time, very difficult to take the answers, because if we miss even one question, after that all the answers will be incorrect. So please remember, student, I'll give you as advice. We have many experiences in all with the O-level and the A-level student when giving this kind of answers. And another one, right? And another one, I need to let you know, 3 or 4 years back, the examination department already decided to give additional 10 minutes time when selecting part 2B questions. Part 2 questions thoragan structured is a 4 structured is a compulsory. 1, 2, 3, 4 structured is a compulsory. You have to give the answer. Right? Normally for one structured essay, it can take 15 minutes and altogether 1 hour. Then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like part 2B. Out of these questions, you have to select 3. When you selecting these 3, you have to select the best 3 questions. That means the questions that you can answer most part of the question. ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ වැඩිම කොටස් ගානක් උත්තර ලියන්න පුළුවන් ටික තමයි ප්‍රශ්න 3 තමයි අපි තෝරගන්න. I'll advise another very important point. පුතාලට මේ විනාඩි 10කුත් දෙනවා මේ ප්‍රශ්න 3 කොටස් තෝරගන්න. විනාඩි 10 නේ විනාඩි 20ක් හරි අරගෙන මේ ප්‍රශ්න කියවනකොට කියවන වෙලාවෙම ඒන කොටසට අදාළ technical term එක එතන ලියන්න. That's a very important thing. When you go through the questions, in the question it already split into 10 or 15 parts. At the moment when you go through the question, write down a very small technical term or the answer itself. So it will take around more than 10 minutes, no problem. Why? You already having the answers in the relevant question. Then one by one you can answer very carefully. Let's imagine that you got another 10 minutes time left. The teacher said that another 10 minutes for the finishing. Then what can you? You already written some technical terms as the answers. Then you will not take half an hour for this part to be answering, because initially our mind is quite free. Our mind is quite free and not that much struggling with the questions. At that moment, the answers will be flow very fast. At that time, you can write the small technical, the answers as a technical terms. Then thereafter, one by one, you can get to answer sheet. That's another very important thing regarding saving the time in the paper. Another very important thing, finally, I'll let you know when you get the, sorry, when you get the writing papers, okay, always part 2B, I'm talking about the part 2B, semi-structured essay, always start with the new question. As example, let's imagine that 5th question, right, with the left hand upper corner start the new question and you can answer by part by part. Let's imagine that the second part of this question should be comes to the next page. What you have to do? Let's imagine that 5th question part A, part B. Now part C we have to go for the next page. Here when you go for the part C, please write down the question number as well. 5th question part C. Some student what they do, 5th question kotas dekak liyala ituru kotasa magala ඊළඟ ප්‍රශ්න ලියලා. Always when you start a question, use a new page. අලුත් පිටුවක වම් පැත්තේ ඉහළ කෙළවර පුතේ අලුත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් හැම වෙලාවෙම පටන් ගන්න. පොලේක යට ඉතුරුමයි කියලා එතනින් පටන් ගන්න එපා. And always remember, write the examination number, index number, examination number in each and every page. Sometimes we see that some pages already detached from the set of pages, and at that moment, very difficult to distinguish or identify the paper whom it belongs to. Right? Okay. These are the things really I need to let you know regarding the paper, not only for science, just generally for all the subjects. If there are any questions, you can ask now. Madam, if there are any questions.